All right. Dope as Jay bringing you guys another video. Shout out to the new subscribers and the new followers. Thank you guys for showing support on the channel. Been doing pretty good. The road to 500 subs is there. We're getting there slowly but steadily, and then the next goal is going to be 1,000 subs. So thank you guys for supporting. We're remaining consistent with the content, the live streams and stuff like that, and eventually we'll branch out to other platforms. So shout out to you guys. Thank you for the support, the likes, sharing the videos. Greatly appreciate it. You guys can also follow me on other social media platforms like Twitter and stuff like that. So I'll start promoting that a little bit more, putting that in the description so that you guys can follow me on those platforms as well for updates, okay? This is a bit of a follow-up to my previous video in which I talked about gaming being fine long-term with a couple of things gonna slow down like hardware sales and stuff like that. But in regards to video game releases, we are starting to hit the stride. We're turning the corner this generation in regards to video game releases. 2 weeks ago, we had Nintendo Direct from Nintendo, obviously showing off a lot of their games, a lot of their titles, and that was pretty exciting to see what they were doing with the games that are coming to Switch 2 as well, Switch 1. We had State of Play a couple days ago, which I did a live stream, live reacting to that, and then playing Ghost of Tsushima after that. So Housemarque is dropping a new game, which is essentially a follow-up to Returnal, Seiros. Insomniac Wolverine, we get to see a little bit more of that game, a lot more gameplay. That game is dropping next year as well. So I talked about this briefly, but long-term gaming is going to be fine. Short-term, you're going to have a couple of hiccups here and there from some AAA games, but for the most part, like the majority of gaming is going to be fine because the consumer spending is there, right? Particularly when it comes to the software and the services part, right? Where people are actually spending money on buying games and buying services and stuff like that. So I think we're turning a corner this generation. I mean, just like the announcements that we have for 2026 alone right now is insane, right? Just from those three events. Also, Xbox Tokyo Game Show, can't forget about that. They had some of their announcements during that event as well. Forza Horizon 6 is coming out, so that's pretty exciting. Like there's a lineup of games for next year that's shaping up to be really, really good. So Q4 of this year and entering next year, at least from a video game release standpoint, is amazing, right? Another thing is the fact that we still have the Video Game Awards at the end of this year as well, which will start getting more release dates and more announcements for games that are coming out next year, as well as games that might come out beyond 2026. So I think that for the people, there's like a segment of social media, right? You see this on TikTok, even on Twitter. You have these doomers, right? Like, oh, gaming is dying, gaming is going to have a crash and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there like, that's a bad take, horrible take. You don't know what you're talking about. Lots of people are still gaming. The market is huge. It's never been as huge as it is now, right? There's never been this much diversity with gaming. The amount of titles that are coming out. There's a game for everyone, right? But you have the subset of gamers, right, that don't branch out and don't play other games. They're stuck in a particular genre, a particular type of game, right? And I've talked about this in the previous video, and lots of other people have been covering this as well. The fact that like you can't sit here and tell everybody, oh, gaming is dead, and then you look up these people, right? Like you go on their profiles and you're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Like you play 3 games a year. The typical what TBH will say, the Black Hokage will say is bowling gun gamers, right? You play Madden, 2K, Call of Duty. That's the only type of game that you play. And it's pretty interesting to see that. But to get back to the main point, gaming's never been better. We're in a great state right now, okay? And I talked about hardware prices being really, really high right now and how hardware sales are going to slow down, right? And we've been seeing that from a couple of companies, but at least from a Nintendo and Sony standpoint, like they've been extremely profitable. PlayStation 5 is the most profitable console. I'll put up the data point for you guys to see this. They talked about this months ago. Now it's a headline, right? These people that don't follow the games and network services presentations that they put out, now it's a headline because the CEO is saying it. And it's like they've been saying this for a while. Like PlayStation 5 is extremely profitable. The Nintendo Switch is extremely profitable. They make a lot of money off of these platforms, right? So and Xbox is making money off of services and games and stuff like that, but the console isn't doing really, really well. So I talked about that. I've hit the point on Xbox a long time, so I'm not going to dive into that in this video. But yeah, 2026 is looking to be really, really good. These next couple of months are looking to be really, really good in regards to game releases. So yeah, I'm extremely high. I'm bullish on gaming. I'm not bearish. Another thing, EA is looking to be sold for $50 billion. I'll probably have another video dedicated to that. So it's looking like a private equity group, and Saudi Arabia is looking to buy EA and then take it private. So they're not going to be a public company. And that's very interesting to see how private equity is trying to squeeze their way into gaming, as well as sovereign wealth funds trying to squeeze their way into gaming. And essentially, like, you see this in esports, right? Where you have Saudi getting involved in esports with the esports World Cup, and now they're trying to do the National Cup and trying to sports wash their image. I'll leave some links in the description to give you guys more examples of that and people who've done great coverage around Saudi Arabia sports washing and trying to clean their image up by getting into these different sectors of sports and now gaming, right? But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with EA into the future with that. I'll do a more expansive video talking about EA because this is going to be. I hope this isn't a trend of private equity coming into gaming. Private equity has a tendency of getting into a specific field, buying up assets, stripping it, and then essentially leaving everyone else that's been involved for a long time for dead. So we'll see what happens with that. But overall, gaming is very, very healthy right now. Outside of like hardware slowing down for a bit, like I said, long term, we're not going to be in this economic state where everything is super expensive and inflationary. Eventually, the correction has to happen, and we'll go back to a state of normalcy. But let me know your thoughts on a lot of these video game releases that are coming out. Let me know what you're anticipating, what you're very, very excited for. Like I said, we had State of Play, the Nintendo Direct, Xbox Tokyo Game Show, and then we still have the Video Game Awards at the end of the year. So there's a lot more announcements, a lot more releases to come. And this is pretty much it for the video. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.